All right, so we're diving into this transcript, right? And it's a conversation about a guy who's going through some kind of sickness. But the thing is, it's framed as like this transformation he's going through.
Yeah, it's almost like they're presenting this sickness not as something bad, but like a necessary step in this change he's going through.
Oh, I see, I see. So it's like shedding the old,
Yeah.
like a snake shedding its skin or something.
Exactly. Like it says he's becoming lighter in his energy
Mm-hmm.
and more understanding, and that the people around him are noticing this change.
That's interesting. So it's not just like an internal thing he's feeling, but other people are picking up on it too. Kind of makes you think about that whole energy thing, doesn't it? Like, have you ever met someone and you just feel like they have this certain energy about them?
Oh, absolutely. And, there's actually a lot of research now, particularly in psychology, about how challenging experiences can actually lead to positive changes. It's like they call it post-traumatic growth.
Post-traumatic growth, huh? So like going through something tough can actually make you stronger in the end.
Exactly. It can force you to reevaluate things, your priorities. And you become more resilient, maybe even more compassionate toward yourself and other people.
I can see that. So maybe it's not so much about literal energy, but just about how we respond to challenges and let them shape us.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got this idea of sickness as like a catalyst for transformation, right? But then there's this whole 20-day prediction thing. The source mentions someone predicted this whole change would happen within 20 days. Do we know anything more about that?
Well, the transcript doesn't really give us much detail about the prediction or who made it. But it definitely brings up that whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Like, if you believe something strongly enough, maybe it can actually influence what happens.
Oh, that's so interesting. So even if the prediction wasn't like magical or anything, just the belief in it might have made a difference.
Right, like when you set a goal and you truly believe you're going to achieve it, you're more likely to take the steps to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. There's definitely power in our mindset.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got sickness as a catalyst for transformation and this whole self-fulfilling prophecy thing. But then there's this other detail that stood out to me. The transcript mentions that this guy starts paying more attention to his appearance as he goes through all this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Not to, like, fool anyone, but because he wants to be seen as, proper and reliable. It's almost like his presentation plays a part in this whole transformation.
And, it ties into this idea of personal branding. Like, how we present ourselves to the world really matters, whether we realize it or not.
That's true.
Our appearance, how we carry ourselves, even how we speak, it all contributes to how people perceive us, especially when it comes to things like trust and competence.
That's interesting. So, like, just by being proper in his appearance, he could be seen as more reliable. Is that something people actually think about?
I think it's a mix of conscious and unconscious stuff.
Right.
Some people are super deliberate about it, while others might not even realize they're doing it.
Right.
But the fact that the transcript highlights this detail, I think it shows how important it is to this guy's transformation. It's like he's not just changing on the inside, but also how he presents himself to the world.
I see. So it's like reflecting this new sense of self-assurance, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe even going back to that energy thing, if he's feeling lighter and more confident internally, it makes sense that it would show up in how he carries himself and presents himself to the world. Yeah. It's all connected.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like everything's kind of intertwined.
Right. What are your thoughts on that? Have you ever felt like you went through a time where your own energy or how you presented yourself just kind of shifted?
Now that you mention it.
Yeah, it's wild how connected all that stuff can be, right? And speaking of connections, this transcript takes a hard left turn and starts talking about Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It felt so random when I first read it.
Well, it says this guy invested in Bitcoin because he's worried about a financial collapse.
Right, as a safeguard. But then the response he gets is that Bitcoin's of no concern, and it's not going to mess with the changes he's going through. That part always kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it's almost like a hint that there's bigger stuff happening than just, money problems. Maybe like forces beyond our control, even something like cryptocurrency can't mess with them.
So you're saying it's not really about Bitcoin itself. It's more about like a shift in perspective.
Exactly. It could be saying money doesn't really matter when you're going through such a big personal change.
Yeah, I can see that. But it still feels kind of weird to just throw Bitcoin into the mix like that.
Well, there are a couple ways to look at it. On the one hand, it could be a comment on how unpredictable Bitcoin is, right? Like, it's still new, and no one really knows what's going to happen with it.
That's true. It's super volatile.
Right. But then on the other hand, maybe it's suggesting that this guy's transformation is so big that it goes beyond the material world. Like regular money problems just don't matter anymore.
Wow, that's deep. It makes you wonder, if the whole financial system crashed, would it even matter to someone who's going through a change like that?
That's a good question. It really makes you think about what truly matters in life, like what really holds value. I'm curious, what do you think about all this cryptocurrency stuff, especially in a world that feels like it's constantly changing?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. I've always thought financial security was super important, but this transcript makes me wonder if maybe there's a bigger picture I'm missing.
It's a complex issue for sure, and it's a conversation a lot of people are having right now with all the uncertainty in the world. But let's switch gears for a second. The transcript also talks about this guy's relationship with meditation.
Oh, yeah, he was encouraged to meditate, but felt like he didn't have time.
Right. Exactly. Which is something I think a lot of people can relate to. Life just gets so busy.
Oh, tell me about it. Finding time to just sit and do nothing feels impossible sometimes.
Totally. But what's interesting is the response he gets isn't like, you have to meditate. It actually acknowledges that meditation is not for everyone, and even suggests other stuff like walking meditation.
Walking meditation.
Yeah, like being mindful while you walk. It's a good way to fit it into your day, even if you're busy. I think the main takeaway here is that it's all about finding what works for you. Whether it's traditional meditation, being out in nature, or even just taking a few deep breaths throughout the day.
That makes sense. It's not about forcing yourself to do something you hate. It's about finding what helps you chill out and connect with yourself, whatever that looks like for you.
Exactly. And I think this part of the transcript is really emphasizing the importance of self-care. Taking care of ourselves, both physically and mentally, is so important, especially if we're going through a major life change. Right?
No, for sure. It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. And, I'm starting to see a pattern here. This transcript's not just about one guy's experience.
Yeah.
It's like a guidebook for dealing with change and finding balance in a world that's always in flux.
Yeah, you're right. It's like all of these pieces, the sickness as a catalyst, the focus on how he presents himself, even the Bitcoin thing are starting to come together and make a bigger picture about personal transformation.
It's like we're getting little glimpses into a larger puzzle. But I got to admit, that Bitcoin part still throws me off. It feels so out of place.
I mean, that's the whole point. Like, it's there to challenge what we think is important. In a world where everyone's obsessed with money and security, this transcript seems to be saying there's something deeper going on, something that goes beyond the stock market and all that.
I like that. It's a good reminder that sometimes the weirdest details can actually have the most meaning.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to the core of this whole deep dive, transformation. This guy's journey, with all its ups and downs, is a reflection of the bigger changes happening all around us, both individually and as a society. You're right, it's bigger than just one person. So what does all this mean for the listener, the person listening to this right now? What are they supposed to take away from all this?
Well, I think this transcript gives us a lot to think about. Like, if we can see sickness as a chance to grow, how can we look at the challenges in our own lives differently?
It's like we should try to see those tough times, not as setbacks, but as opportunities, like a chance to grow and change for the better.
You got it. It's all about changing how we look at things. And, it's kind of like working out. A muscle only gets stronger when you push it, right?
That's a good analogy.
So maybe it's the same with our emotions and our spirit. Facing hard times could be how we discover how strong we really are.
I like that, building up those inner muscles so we can handle whatever life throws at us.
Exactly. We become more resilient, more sure of ourselves, and we learn more about how much we can actually grow and change.
This whole deep dive has been so insightful, honestly. I'm starting to understand how all these seemingly random parts, the sickness, the emphasis on presentation, even Bitcoin, all connect back to this idea of transformation and how to thrive in a world that just keeps changing.
I'm glad you're getting so much out of it. And remember, this is just the start of your exploration. We've uncovered some cool insights, but in the end, transformation is a personal journey. It's up to you to take these ideas and see how they fit into your own life.
So for someone listening who's feeling inspired to embrace this whole transformation thing, where should they even begin?
Well, I think the first step is just to become more aware. Pay attention to those moments when you feel challenged or stuck or resistant to change. Don't try to ignore those feelings. Be curious about them.
So instead of pushing away those feelings, we should ask ourselves, What can I learn from this?
Exactly. Ask yourself what opportunities for growth might be hiding within that challenge. It's all about shifting your perspective. See those challenges as stepping stones instead of roadblocks.
Yeah, it's like those challenges are actually guiding us towards becoming the best versions of ourselves.
And remember, transformation isn't about reaching a finish line. It's a journey. It's an ongoing process of growth, learning, and evolving. There will be times when it feels amazing and times when it's tough. But by embracing all of it, we can really tap in to our potential for growth and change.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. It reminds us that we have the power to choose how we react to those challenges, and that even when things are hard, we can still find a way to grow.
You got it. And who knows, maybe by embracing those challenges, we'll discover we're capable of way more than we ever thought possible.
Well, that's an inspiring note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some new ways to think about things and inspired you to embrace your own path of transformation.
And remember, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep growing. The journey is yours to create.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
I'd like to invite the appropriate energy today, and for this energy to explain to us what Navi's this sickness was about, what was the truth behind. So when I count to 3, this energy will be here. 1, coming through this body. 2, almost here. And hello.
Hello,
Hi. Who I'm speaking with?
is higher self.
Ah, very good. So, yeah, so can you tell us? I feel there's something is going on.
Transformation,
Ah, but why he has to be sick?
releasing of energy.
Ah, releasing the energy that does not
No longer
serve.
serves them, yes.
Right, very good. So now what? He's ready?
He is.
Mm-hmm. So tell me more about this transmission.
He's becoming lighter in energy and lighter in being
I do.
understanding and towards people.
Uh-huh,
People pick up on that.
uh-huh. Yeah.
He has not been the same how he was a couple months ago.
So what is the trigger for this? He's ready?
It will happen in different stages in the person's individual growth.
I see. So when I was doing the session, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks before, and I think someone said he's going to transform in 20 days. Was about this?
Related to it, yes.
So I do feel his energy is lighter today. I cannot describe why I feel this way. I just do. Okay. So what else he can do now compared with before?
Just continuing the work that he's doing with you
Ah,
and just continuing being himself.
okay. Very good. And also exercise is good for him.
It is. Health condition is not the best.
So why he's kind of, how to say, in a way, compared with others, it takes a little bit more time for him to get ready for things?
He wants to be presentable and proper.
Oh, okay. For that reason.
Yes. He does not do it intentionally to make people think as if he's just fooling around in those places.
Yeah, it takes me 30 seconds to...
That's you.
All right. And,
No one that exists is like you, and no one that exists is like him.
right. Okay, so to be proper, to be presentable, yeah?
Yes.
Very good. I think he's always very presentable. There's no situation that he made himself like either in a rush or he's out of breath. Yeah, and that's a good thing because people feel very, how to say, he's very reliable.
He is. People trust him, and that trust is very important to people because you don't see that too often. People get cheated, they're being pushed around and not
Right,
being in a peaceful state.
right.
He brings them a peaceful state and gives them a listening ear, and that's very important to have.
So, are you healing him again? His
No.
feet are moving.
Just being comfortable.
Ah, okay. So what do you say about Bitcoin?
What was that?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
Yeah, that he told me that he bought some just in case if there's a financial collapse.
It is of no concern. It will not disrupt the flow of the changes that are happening, but the choices he makes, that makes him feel comfortable, let him do it.
Okay, I see. Very good. All right. Is there anything else you want to let him know?
Be practicing meditation. He's not doing that.
Why not?
Feels as if he's too busy to do that. If you make time, you'll see the rewards of doing it.
Okay. But you know, meditation is definitely not for everyone.
It's not.
Right. Like for me, no. But it's okay. I have other ways. I do walking meditation in the park.
It's beneficial too.
Right? Why not? When it's not too cold. Thank you for your message, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you. And I will talk to you soon again.